Good morning. This is a congregation of brave people. I think it got down to around zero this last night, but it was a 2 or 3 degrees higher than that according to my app when I got up. Anyway, thank you so much for coming out. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Monmouth County. My name is Marinelle Mukherjee. My pronouns are she and her, and I serve in several ways, and one of them is as soup luncheon coordinator and as VP of Staff Resources and Worship Committee. I'm here because in this position right this minute because of my work with the Worship Committee. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. Our mission is to create community, transform ourselves, and transform the world. This morning we have 2 guests. We have a guest speaker and a guest musician. And our guest speaker is Mary Tiebout, Reverend Mary Tiebout. She is a part-time minister at the UU Fellowship of Sussex County in Newton, New Jersey. She's been active with UU Faith Action Immigrant Justice Task Force. Our musician today is Dan Cater. Is that the right way to say it? Okay, thank you. He is a graduate of the University of Miami Jazz Program. And he also has an MBA from Fordham University. He has won several awards through his career and has performed both solo and with different artists. He is both excited and honored to be with us today. Okay, I want to say a special thanks to UUCMC Endowment for supporting today's service. I draw your attention to the backside of your order of service. It has a number of things, and I'm going to take advantage of being up here and mention soup luncheons. Please contact me if you can volunteer. And also storytelling on the 28th. It will be, and there are pink flyers out there. It's a fundraiser, and they both are. And we have 10 people telling stories, and I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. And time to socialize and eat a little bit while you're here. Please think of coming. For those of you on live stream and for video viewers, the order of service link is available to you in the YouTube service description box. After the service, refreshments will be served in the community room, and people of all ages are welcome to visit one another. It's out those doors and down that direction to find the community room. If you are new to us, please check out our website, uucmc.org, where you can sign up to get all the latest news of the congregation by email. We look forward to getting to know you better. Please put your devices on silent as we enter into worship together. Welcome again to this place of love and hope.
Good morning. We are here in person and online on this windy, cold Jersey day with hearts awakened to a love of living, a hope of becoming, a deep sense of belonging, and a desire to bestow our gifts of beauty to the world that calls out its prayers to us. We bring our thoughts, our hopes, our stories, and our songs, praising life, giving thanks for this day, this chance. We are here. This day is a blessing. Amen.
Lisa. We light our chalice in the spirit of transformation. Nothing stays the same, everything moving, shifting, changing. Guide us all to a wild and holy vision of our shared humanity. Thank you, Lisa. Our opening hymn is 123. As many of us already know, it's Spirit of Life. Please join us. Stand if you are able.
This is the time for story wisdom, and I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see where there are children. I can see a couple, yeah. But I'm just gonna assume we are all children of all ages. And so the story, all this is for everyone. Today, the topic of the sermon is about sports, and so we can include games in that. And I will assume that for people of all ages, and especially the youngest ones, that games and sports are fun. And I have two children who are now grown up, but when they were in, I think maybe starting in about third grade, they started playing soccer. And my two children are very different. When Johanna played soccer, and she's the older one, she's older than her brother by 2.5 years, she was very serious about winning. And she kind of frowned and stomped her feet a little bit if her team wasn't doing very well. Eli was just happy to be out there running around and kicking the ball. And in one game, the goalie got frustrated because he had let in 4 goals and he wasn't happy. So the coach asked Eli to go in and be the goalie. And Eli let in 4 goals, but he didn't care at all. And the main thing was that they were going to have ice cream after the game, and he was thrilled about that. So we can have different experiences, and it can mean different things about playing in games. Some of you might be familiar with Star Island, our UU retreat, wonderful, beautiful retreat place in a Victorian hotel off the coast of sort of Maine and Massachusetts, New Hampshire. One year I was there as the guest minister, and Jack McCarthy, a just wonderful poet from Boston, was there. And one of the poems that he read was called The Walk of Life. And people who remember maybe 1986 and a certain baseball game would remember the name Bill Buckner. Does anybody remember that name? Yes, okay, so we got some Mets fans here. Bill Buckner was at the end of his career and his legs were very tired. He had stretched a double into a triple, and that was really wonderful. But then at one point, and this is how Jack describes it in his poem, the ball came to him so slowly. He had all this time, and he was probably thinking, great, we can get out of this inning. And then somehow the ball didn't quite get there, and somebody named Mookie was tearing down the first baseline and got there before the ball, and everybody booed. The Boston fans booed Bill Buckner. And then his name became kind of a joke after that. But what Jack McCarthy says in his poem is, come on, Bill Buckner is so much better an athlete than any of the people booing him. You will never be as well known as Bill Buckner. You will never be out there playing and doing great things. So this is one of the things we do in sports, though. We're very critical, and like, how could our person have done that? Or, we're telling them what to do when we're watching the TV. And it's all very tough. And, we have this winning thing. But this is a story that my wonderful teacher in New Mexico, Martine Prechtel, told. When he was young, his mother taught at a school in Los Alamos, New Mexico. It was the Tewa Reservation. So for people who are not familiar with the word Tewa, that was an Indian tribe then. And still is, but when Martine was there, he was with them at their school. And he learned that when they went out running, they would all start out running together, and they would go a couple of miles. It was a long way to run. They would go a couple of miles, and the people who got up to the finish line would turn around and go all the way back and run with the people who were at the end. And then the next people who got up to the finish line would turn around and go back. And that kept on happening until they all went and crossed the finish line together, because that was the most important part of running. It was being together as friends, people just doing their best and having a wonderful time together. So enjoying that. So I encourage everybody to think about good ways to play. If you play, to congratulate the winner if you lose. And if you win, give praise to the kids or the other people who were on the other side and did not win that game. And mostly experience the joy of trying hard and having fun learning how to do new things. We will now sing our children out to the rest of their morning, singing Go Now in Peace.
Every week in this congregation, we are provided with an opportunity to practice generosity. This is your invitation to contribute to the well-being of our congregation and to our social justice partners through the good works of organizations which receive half of the monies collected each month. Our Share the Plate recipient for February is the Parker Family Health Center, continuing the legacy of Doctors James Parker, I believe father and son, and senior and junior, who served the Red Bank community for more than 60 years. The center provides basic health care and referrals to the specialty care through the network of volunteer providers in 20 medical disciplines. For those of you present here in the meeting house, the plates will be passed by the ushers. Online instructions are located in the service description box. You may join this time of generosity via text, send your offering by mail, or charge your contribution online with a memo designating an amount to Parker Family. Do I have that right? Here we go. Parker Family Health Center. There we go. Thank you very much. Please give generously. Olympic hopes. Through evidence from cave paintings and discovered artifacts, historians agree that sports have been part of human culture for over 15,000 years. Chances are that some of our ancestors tossed big stones toward other stones, or wrestled opponents, or jumped, ran, threw javelins, and in the colder places, like here, slid and sailed through the air off a precipice
while others watched, cheered, covered their eyes, and predicted who would do best. And though it's not easy to think of our earliest ancestors having time for fun, it's assumed that they used the skills that they had learned for survival, hunting and warfare, the big ones, both competitively and non-competitively. They used their skills to practice, to develop strength, and to build community. While it was likely that there had been large organized competitions in other parts of the world, we know that the first Greek Olympic Games took place in 776 BCE. According to my big 1925 Webster's Dictionary, this is actually a workout to carry the dictionary, so that's training. The word sport means that which diverts and makes mirth. And it comes from the Anglo-French word disport, made of the prefix des, or de, meaning from, and porter, to carry, originally meaning to carry away from work. Later definitions describe sport as pleasant pastime, activity that brings amusement, joking, and foolery. Regarding leisure sports, the word leisure refers to free time, time at one's disposal, from the word licere, to be allowed. So leisure sports, leisure suggests free from business, idle, or unoccupied. And we know that in today's rather wild world of sports, for thousands of athletes, their sport is their life. It is their work. And the word compete has the first syllable com, meaning with, and petere, to strive, seek, rush toward. So compete is to strive alongside another for the attainment of something, to strive alongside one another, sort of like that race in New Mexico. This is a big time for sports. I chose today's topic in December, knowing that the Olympic Games would begin this weekend, but not having calculated that the Super Bowl would be held this evening. Even in December, before Minneapolis grabbed the world's attention, before Caracas, before Greenland, but amid the international unease already caused by statements and actions made by the administration, I wondered how athletes and other representatives from the US would be received. On Friday, at the opening ceremonies in Milan and Cortina, US athletes were cheered, but loud boos were heard over the booming music when the large screen showed the flag-waving vice president up in the stands. Did the vice president take in the beautifully spoken words of Kirsty Coventry, IOC president, and Giovanni Malago, former president of the Italian Olympic Committee, their words about respect, empathy, courage, and peace? Though US athletes, Chris Lillis and Hunter Hess, for example, have spoken about what they do and do not represent when they wear the US flag on their uniforms, and that they want viewers to know that they believe that everyone's rights should be upheld and everyone should be treated with love and respect. We're unsure of what will happen. I don't expect to see US athletes making political statements on the podium, But looking to previous games, we remember the courage and pride displayed by Jesse Owens on the podium at the 1936 Olympics in Berlin, when German athletes saluted Hitler, and Jesse Owens, with bent arm and hand at his forehead, saluted the American flag. We might remember the image of American medalists Tommy Smith and John Carlos on the podium during the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City, raising their gloved fists during the national anthem as a declaration of solidarity with Black power, but mostly, as Smith later clarified, solidarity with the international human rights movement. From the 1972 Olympics in Munich, we surely remember the 7 gold medals won by Mark Spitz and the 3 by Soviet gymnast Olga Korbut. Those were Summer Olympics. We might also remember the tragedy that struck those games when 8 Palestinian terrorists snuck into the Olympic Village, killed 2 members of the Israeli team, took 9 others hostage, and then killed them and a West German police officer during an unsuccessful rescue attempt. Violence could happen, has happened, even though Pope Leo, in a papal letter, called to nations, quote, to pause military conflict during the Games as a symbol and promise of a reconciled world. As the New York Times reported, Pope Leo, quote, called on politicians and others not to yoke athletic accomplishments to nationalistic pride. A tennis player and devoted White Sox fan, the Pope expressed a wish for the athletes to find joy in participating in the Games. And perhaps we can hope for the best. Through the years, beyond the realm of the Olympics, the sporting world has been a stage for positive social change. During the Jim Crow era, professional baseball was segregated until 1947, when Brooklyn Dodgers general manager Branch Rickey got first baseman Jackie Robinson to leave the Kansas City Monarchs of the Negro League and to play for the Dodgers, breaking a nearly 60-year-old color barrier in baseball. My dad was a big Yankees fan, maybe because one day when he was a kid, he and his friend Jim sat at a soda fountain in New Rochelle, and Lou Gehrig came in and bought them a soda. My dad was always happy to talk about that and about being at the World Series game in 1956 when the Yankees pitcher, anybody remember? Don Larson threw a perfect game to win Game 5 over the Brooklyn Dodgers. I was brought up with baseball. We played catch in the front yard and watched lots of games at the field, which was a 2-minute walk from our house. We listened to Yankees games on the radio while washing the car. Decades later, while taking care of my dad, we watched lots of games. And even though his dementia was quite pronounced, he had no trouble commenting, officiating, coaching, and cheering through all 9 innings. I wasn't a fan of boxing, but I do remember listening to the Ali Frazier fight at Madison Square Garden in March of 1971 on my transistor radio. Ali was the anti-war Muslim. Frazier was more aligned with the establishment. Ali called Frazier the white man's champion. The match was watched by 300 million people worldwide. Frazier won in 15 rounds, handing Ali his first professional defeat. I saw the Yankees play at the stadium, saw the Mets in their first year playing at the Polo Grounds, cheered on the Knicks at the Garden, and it was my junior and senior year in high school. So the Knicks, who I was cheering for, Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, Dave DeBusschere, Bill Bradley, Dick Barnett, Cassie Russell, and Phil Jackson. I mean, what a great team. So, which explains something that I will say in a second. For me, sports as a young person were about happy times spent with family and friends. My mom transferred to Cornell as a junior and was on the Cornell ski team during the war. She loved to swim, and I remember her doing a swan dive off the high board at Requa Lake in Muncie, New York. I watched her water ski on her 80th birthday. She rode her bike for years after that. My brother Johnny played rec league football and little league baseball. My sister Janet, a year older than me, led the way for me to play field hockey. She sort of led the way, but she sort of also insisted. It's the way things worked out. For me to play field hockey and basketball. And she was, about 6 inches taller than me, so she had a little bit of an advantage. But she got me to play anyway, and so this goes back to the New York Knicks, we had great people to not only idolize as athletes, but to try to play like. So we tried to be Clyde, playing at the basketball courts down at the field. I played field hockey and basketball in high school and in college. Following our mom's footsteps at Hastings High School, Janet became a cheerleader, and so did I. Our jumpers and sweaters looked like Catholic school uniforms, just so you have an idea of that time. A great lesson from being a cheerleader was that no matter what happened during the game, you and the team always had to get back on the bus. I'd like to tell 2 stories about favorite, perhaps not well-known moments in sports. The Vendée Globe is a single-crew global sailing race. Pete Goss, a former Royal Marine living in Britain, organized a team, built a 60-foot boat, and in 1996, fulfilled his dream of entering this amazing race. He was 34 years old. Many days into the race that had begun in France, Goss was in the Southern Ocean when a severe storm caused 5 racing boats to capsize. He received a distress signal from fellow racer Raphael Dinelli. In a speech that Pete Goss gave in New York and in his book Close to the Wind, he describes the 1 minute he gave himself to make a decision. He had a chance to win the race, and if he turned around, he would have no chance. He would be heading into a storm and could be lost at sea. He thought about his wife and children. He was the closest one to Dinelli. If he didn't turn around, Dinelli would not survive. Pete Goss turned his yacht around and headed into the hurricane's fierce winds. It took him 2 days of searching, but he found Dinelli in a life raft that an Australian Air Force plane had dropped just before Delaney's boat sank. For his act of courage and humanity, Pete Goss was received into the Légion d'honneur. His decision, his courage, and his humanity made him a true hero. And a different story. In November 2010, Brendan Burke, a great hockey player at Miami University in Ohio, came out as being gay and began speaking out against homophobia in college and professional sports. Brendan's coming out was praised by professional athletes, especially in the NHL. Brendan's father had been the general manager for the Maple Leafs and other teams and was well known throughout the league. His father also attended pride events after Brendan came out. Brendan's brother Patrick was a scout for the Flyers in early 2011, and it was at this time that Brendan died in a car accident in Indiana. The following year, Patrick launched an organization in honor of his brother and in support of LGBTQ athletes. The campaign was called You Can Play. It began in the NHL and spread to other leagues to eradicate homophobia in sports. At an awards event at Dartmouth College in 2013, in which my nephew was honored for his 4 years as captain of the men's squash team, a video made by athletes representing all of Dartmouth's teams was shown. Its title was, "If you can play, you can play." There are good sporting moments in recent news. On Saturday, January 24th, the Golden State Warriors were scheduled to play the Minnesota Timberwolves at Target Center in Minneapolis. When news of Alex Pretty's death reached the coaches, Steve Kerr of Golden State and Chris Finch of Minnesota, along with NBA officials, they rescheduled the game for the following Monday. Both coaches and players, for one in particular, Steph Curry, who had watched the streams of protesters outside his hotel window, spoke about their sadness over what was happening on the human level. The NBA Players Association used its platform to make this statement: "Now more than ever, we must defend the right to freedom of speech and stand in solidarity with people in Minneapolis protesting and risking their lives to demand justice. The fraternity of NBA players, like the U.S. itself, is a community enriched by its global citizens, and we refuse to let the flames of division threaten the civil liberties that are meant to protect us all." Sports programs are still sorting out issues related to trans athletes, and I'm sure someone will want to sort athletes into leagues based on testosterone levels. There is room for generosity and compassion in these matters. When the world of sports is more welcoming, the whole world benefits. We know the gifts that athletes who participate in the Special Olympics and Paralympics have received and given over the decades. This weekend opened with many of us in tears while Andrea Bocelli sang Nessun Dorma at the opening ceremonies. Today we'll be invited to feel the joy and rooted pride of Bad Bunny's music at the Super Bowl halftime show. Sports, whether formal or informal, whether as a team or individually, whether keeping time or keeping score or just having fun, skating in circles on a pond, tossing a frisbee through the woods, sports can be an expression of the joy of movement, the reward of the focused mind, the love of others on the field, on the course, the courts, or on the ocean. If you're in the kitchen and you throw a wadded piece of paper towel into the garbage can from 6 feet away, you can feel the uplift, the satisfaction, the moment of joy that at any age is pretty great, but at my age is pretty funny. Yes, I think there's a spiritual side to sports, particularly if there's some freedom in it. Sports, games, play, especially if we go back to the original meaning of the word, that which makes mirth and that which carries one away from work, can always be a celebration. Sports invite us not to be a better runner or skier or sailor than your opponents, but to become a better human being through the challenge, heartbreak, and joys of being in the game of life. May we find the blessings, the grace, and joy in this beloved game of life. Amen. All blessings, and amen. We are going to sing together hymn number 159, This Is My Song. May this be a time of prayer and meditation. When we take a deep breath Air opens the door to where the ember of our being sits. When we take a deep breath, the ember glows. We all have that small fire within us. We call it life. We're grateful for this gift that we receive each new day and that we hold in our hands. We keep meaning to write a thank you note. Dear life, thank you so much for this life. It's not easy, but we're learning. Dear kind-hearted mystery, thank you for the beautiful trees, the hungry birds, and the furry animals. Thank you for all the beings and their songs, for all of our songs. Thank you for the stars and the moon. Thank you for water and earth and seeds. Thank you for thinking of us. Thank you for wanting us to think. Thank you, chance, for this moment. Thank you, dear life, for this day. What a beautiful gift. We found the instructions. We're on the part about love. Oh, it's all about love. Of course. With great thanks and love, dear life, we say, Amen. Our closing hymn is number 368. Now let us sing. I am just about to read the words of benediction, but I want to invite everybody to please remain seated for our postlude so we can enjoy a little bit more of Dan's amazing music. As whoa. Have to read the benediction first. As we go into the world that calls us, challenges us, and sometimes makes us tired, may we be awake to the world's needs and bring forth the gifts of community and humanity that we have shared this morning. May we feed the great heart of love and be grateful, hopeful, joyful, and bold. Amen. All blessings and amen.